Something about this feels deeply hidden, like a secret the writers are desperately trying to keep under wraps until the very last second. If you ask me, we are looking at a leak that changes everything we thought we knew about the current storylines. We are hearing whispers of a massive courtroom twist, one that nobody is going to see coming. It feels like we just heard something that no one was supposed to know yet. The kind of unconfirmed information that makes you question every single scene you have watched over the past few months. Everyone assumes that the upcoming trial is going to be a straightforward legal battle. Most viewers believe that the courtroom drama will solely focus on Curtis and his assault charges regarding Isaiah. The obvious explanation seems to be that Curtis will either take a plea deal or fight for his freedom while his family watches in suspense. We all thought the narrative was simply about whether Curtis would go to prison and miss out on his newborn baby's first year. Fans have been debating the legal strategies, wondering if his lawyer can pull off a miracle, and assuming that the judge will simply hand down a verdict based on the physical altercation that took place. Most people are completely convinced that the trial will just be a standard procedural storyline. They think the judge will bang the gavel, the lawyers will argue about the unfortunate fight with Isaiah, and the verdict will be handed down without any major surprises. We assume the hit-and-run accident that injured Jordan and Curtis was a resolved plot point, especially since Willow was heavily implicated and framed. We thought the drama had settled, with Harrison knowing a fraction of the truth and choosing to stand by his wife, Brook Lynn. We assumed that the messy situation was swept under the rug so Brook Lynn and Harrison could focus on their life with baby Phoebe. Everyone just accepted that the dust had settled and the writers were moving on to the next chapter. But what if we're looking at this the wrong way? What if that wasn't the real reason for this trial at all? What if someone has been meticulously planning a massive courtroom ambush this entire time? There may be more going on here than a simple assault trial. Rumor has it that Willow never actually let go of the fact that she was framed for the hit and run. Think about it. Willow is not the type to just accept being the fall guy, especially when her freedom, her reputation, and her entire life were on the line. What if the situation is being manipulated from the shadows, and Willow has spent the last few months quietly gathering airtight evidence against the real culprit? I keep wondering whether Willow has been working with a secret investigator or utilizing hidden security footage that no one else knew existed. If you ask me, the insider buzz points directly to Brook Lynn. The alternative story here is that Brook Lynn's darkest secrets are about to be dragged into the unforgiving light of the courtroom. We are talking about the night she was drinking, got behind the wheel, caused the horrific crash involving Jordan and Curtis, and then made the devastating choice to flee the scene. She didn't call the police. She didn't call an ambulance. She just ran, entirely driven by the fear that a scandal would ruin her chances of officially adopting Phoebe with Harrison. Brook Lynn may have believed that she had successfully hidden the truth about that terrible night, but this behind-the-scenes possibility paints a picture of total, catastrophic exposure. This unconfirmed information suggests that Willow is going to hijack the trial. Instead of Curtis and Isaiah being the center of attention, Willow might drop a bombshell that shifts the entire legal focus onto Brook Lynn. Imagine the sheer chaos in that courtroom. The judge, the jury, the spectators, everyone will suddenly realize that the woman sitting quietly in the gallery is the true architect of so much recent pain. Brook Lynn thought she had buried the truth deep underground, but a hidden agenda from Willow could blow the lid off everything. The sheer level of calculation required to hold on to this evidence and wait for the perfect moment, a public trial where everyone is present, is staggering. It turns Willow from a passive victim into a strategic mastermind. And it turns Brook Lynn from a relieved mother into a sitting duck. It is not just about the accident itself. It is about the deafening silence that followed. That silence is what caused a massive domino effect of tragedy. If Brook Lynn had stopped and called for help, Jordan might have received medical attention much faster, potentially changing the course of her recovery. Curtis wouldn't have been dragged into a spiral of misunderstandings and escalating tensions that culminated in him assaulting Isaiah. And Isaiah wouldn't have had his brilliant surgical career jeopardized by a violent altercation that never should have happened. The ripple effects of Brook Lynn's selfish decision are absolutely staggering, and the rumor mill suggests that every single victim is about to realize exactly who is to blame for their suffering. So, how does this all play out when the truth finally drops? That's one possibility. But another theory is that the fallout will be entirely social and familial before it even becomes a legal issue. Harnung 1, or Scenario 1, the town completely turns its back on Brook Lynn. Curtis will undoubtedly view her as the catalyst who turned his life upside down and put his freedom at risk. Isaiah will look at her as the person who indirectly destroyed his surgical hands and ruined his life's work. Willow will see her as a vindictive enemy who repeatedly tried to destroy her life by framing her for a crime she didn't commit. And Harrison? Harrison might feel the ultimate betrayal. He knew a small piece of the puzzle, but discovering the sheer magnitude of her lies, the drunk driving, the fleeing, the elaborate cover-up, might completely shatter his trust forever. Harrison is a man of the law. His entire identity, his career, and his moral compass are built on the foundation of justice. Realizing he was sleeping next to a fugitive who let innocent people suffer could destroy their marriage instantly. He might look at Brook Lynn and realize he doesn't even know the woman he married. The psychological toll on Harrison would be immense, forcing him to choose between his badge and his wife. And based on this insider buzz, it seems highly likely that Harrison will not be able to forgive the fact that Brook Lynn let Jordan, Curtis, and Isaiah suffer just to save her own skin. Karnung 2, or Scenario 2, revolves around the most heartbreaking consequence of all, baby Phoebe. What if the adoption agency or the family court gets wind of this massive scandal? If Brook Lynn is exposed as a drunk driver who fled the scene of a severe accident and then engaged in a criminal conspiracy to frame an innocent woman, there is absolutely no way the state will finalize that adoption. They will pull Phoebe from that home so fast, it will make your head spin. And worse, Harrison might lose his eligibility to adopt as well. If the authorities determine that Harrison, a sworn police officer, knew about the crime and helped cover it up, his career and his dreams of fatherhood could be destroyed in one fell swoop. The psychological damage to Phoebe, being ripped away from the only stable home she has known, would be a devastating emotional climax to this storyline. Karnung 3, or Scenario 3, takes a corporate and financial turn that could ruin a legacy. We know Brook Lynn holds significant power and valuable shares at Deception. If she is suddenly facing massive criminal charges, civil lawsuits from Jordan, Curtis, and Isaiah, and astronomical legal fees, she is going to need a massive amount of capital. What if the courts force her to liquidate her assets? She might have to sell or transfer her Deception shares just to stay out of a prison cell or pay restitution to the victims. This would cause a massive power vacuum, stripping her family of their influence at the cosmetics company and leaving Brook Lynn financially and professionally ruined. Corporate sharks would circle the waters, eager to buy up her shares for pennies on the dollar, effectively erasing her entire legacy in the business world. But guys, we have to talk about the most dangerous possibility. What if we take all these theories and combine them into one catastrophic endgame? The boldest speculation right now isn't just that Brook Lynn loses a few things, it is that she loses absolutely everything, culminating in a severe prison sentence. Imagine a reality where the judge decides to make an example out of her right then and there. She doesn't just get a slap on the wrist or a fine. She is stripped of Phoebe, served divorce papers by a devastated and betrayed Harrison, ousted from Deception, disowned by the disappointed members of her family, and then escorted out of the courtroom in handcuffs to serve hard time in Pentonville. This is the scenario that should truly haunt fans. A character who did everything wrong for what she believed were the right reasons, protecting her future family, ends up being the sole architect of her own total destruction. The irony is absolutely suffocating. By trying to hold on to Phoebe and Harrison through a web of lies and deception, she guarantees that she will lose them forever. She will sit in a cold, lonely cell, knowing that her enemies, Willow, Curtis, Isaiah, are walking free, while she has become the ultimate pariah of the town. The psychological torment of knowing she caused her own downfall and dragged Harrison down with her is the most chilling outcome I can possibly imagine. But hey, I keep wondering whether the writers will actually pull the trigger on something this dark and destructive. It could absolutely happen, or it could be a massive misdirection designed to keep us guessing. Maybe Brook Lynn finds a miraculous legal loophole, or maybe someone else steps up to take the fall at the very last minute. Nothing is set in stone until it officially airs on our screens. But if you ask me, there is definitely something huge brewing beneath the surface of this trial. The pieces are all there, perfectly aligned, just waiting to fall and crush everything in their path. Keep your eyes peeled, guys, because I have a feeling there is still a massive part of this story that remains completely untold. We might be on the verge of the biggest television explosion of the entire year, or we might just be scratching the surface of an even deeper conspiracy. Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure, you will not want to miss a single second of the fallout.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.